Guys, I'm going to read something to you, and I don't know if I should. It's... Okay. This is a story called Take Me Into Your Ark. This is, and I'm not kidding, an erotic gay Bible fan fiction. I'm going to hell for this. Here we go. Jesus' eyes widened, and imperceptible... I'm already fucking up. An imperceptible amount as he took in the sight of Noah, naked, before him. Fumbling for something witty, he said, "So the ark's not the only bit of wood my father gave you." Noah grinned, his gray eyes flashing in lust. "Your father isn't the only one who gives me wood." Jesus laughed. "I can see that." And he reached for the hem of his tunic and began to tug it roughly over his head, revealing his chiseled torso, a gift from his dad. Noah watched hungrily as he slipped out of the rest of his clothes, leaving them on a son of godly heap on the floor. Jesus stopped when he saw his underwear, a little bit embarrassed. He was the son of the creator of the entire universe, and he couldn't get some decent boxer briefs. Noah's eyebrows shot up in acknowledgement of his Spider-Man patterned crotch. "A Christmas gift," he trailed off, hoping that was an explanation enough. "Hey, no, it's okay." Noah smiled, his eyes creasing in amusement. "I can't say mine are any better." He reached for his own pair, inside out, on the dresser, and flipped them around so Jesus could plainly see the leopard print transfer. "I like 'em." Jesus cocked an eyebrow, considering how fitting it was that Noah should wear animal-printed boxers. "Do you have 2 pairs of those as well?" Noah just smiled, tossing the underwear aside, and began to saunter forward lazily, completely aware of the effect the sight of his own throbbing member was having on Jesus, whose prominent, holy erection was now shamelessly calling to him from within the red and blue briefs. Backing onto the cheap motel bed, nobody picked Hotel de la Genesis for its luxury accommodation. There were strip clubs in downtown Nazareth with higher standards. Jesus let Noah remove his underwear with his teeth, letting out a fervent moan at the pressure of Noah's removal against his own quivering shaft. Jesus' eyes rolled back in his skull as Noah, as a reaction to his previous utterance, began to pursue the motion, small sounds of pleasure emanating from the back of his throat. "The beard," he moaned, "it tickles." Till he heard a soft laugh in reply. The older man crept forward, the two moving backwards together onto the bed, until Jesus' head was inches from the shabby fabric headboard. Noah began with gentle caresses, pressing his lips to Jesus' washboard abs, slowly working his way down. Jesus cried out in passion as Noah's lips reached his substantial manhood and began to fillet. He was a master with his tongue, caressing expertly with a sensitive yet dangerous touch. To Jesus' intense shame, it did not last very long. But Noah had other plans. The two began kissing passionately, locked in a fiery embrace on the dirty sheets. Jesus did things with his tongues that Noah had never felt before. His phallus quivered with the intensity of it all. Jesus pulled back, lust aflame in his eyes. He leaned into Noah's ear and whispered, in honeyed tones, a final commandment. "Thou shalt bend over." You know, I try not to break up in the middle of these, but it's hard. Noah complied, and Jesus, the evidence of his passion completely recovered from his earlier remission, lowered his hips until they hovered, thighs tense with anticipation behind Noah's smooth, toned backside. Like a wild, untamable beast tensed to spring, Jesus licked his swollen lips before thrusting forward with a savage desire. He smiled at Noah's sharp intake of breath and adjusted to the sheer size of Jesus' love sword. "Yes!" Noah cried out in passion. "Jesus Christ!" I'm sorry. "I'm right here, baby," Jesus grunted. "Right here." And for a while the only sounds that filled the room were the steady rhythmic creak of bed springs, the soft male panting and moaning from both men, and the gentle intimate slap of skin on skin. Jesus' face was contorted with concentration and erotic pleasure until finally he erupted in Noah's anal cavity, letting loose an orgasmic cry. The two lay back on the sheets, breathing heavily, wrapped loosely in each other's arms. "Father," Jesus panted, forgive him." Noah laughed breathlessly, and the two lay there together on the edge of consciousness, listening to the music of the night, wavering in through the high window. The decor of the room hinted at what may have once been a slight sense of grandeur, the curtain printed with a pattern of wine glasses and fish. A loud shout from the distant night penetrated the otherwise silent atmosphere. "I think that's the sound of somebody being mugged," Jesus murmured, his brow creasing with tension. "Well, that means there are miracles to perform. I'd better—" He trailed off as he looked down at the sight of Noah, who had lapsed into unconsciousness. His lips parted in a slight smile. Detangling himself from Noah's arm and rising gently from the bed, Jesus pulled the stained sheet up and covered his lover's body, leaning over to plant one last kiss on his forehead. The Son of God straightened up, reached for his Spider-Man boxer briefs, and gazed down at Noah's sleeping form. Jesus smiled triumphantly to himself and whispered fervently into the night, "I will come again." I feel disgusting. Thanks for listening to this, everybody. Like, comment, and subscribe and all that shit, and I'm sorry.